Welcome to Between the Posts for the final time this year. We are on location at our wonderful sponsor, the Moseley Hotel. I'm Tommy Javor, joined by Woodville West Torrens Premiership player, the Mad Russian, the Div 2 specialist, AFL Asia's King. That's a lot of an intro. Matt Gale, welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to come down this morning, Tommy, and wonderful to be with you.
It's going to be a good headstone when you're done because I could keep going. Of course, yesterday you commentated the C and the B grade.
Yeah, very entertaining games. Obviously, Sacred Heart getting both premierships in the C1 and the B grade as well. So it was an outstanding day for them.
Yes, we've got a huge show, our last show of the year again. We'll thank everyone at the end. But the Division 1 report is going to be huge. I'm going to get you to join me for parts of that because you actually watched the Division 1 Grand Final, the A grade. You stayed and watched that, didn't you?
Certainly did, yeah, loved it.
Upset?
Upset of the season.
Yeah, it was.
Right across the 7 divisions.
Yeah, yep. It was. Well, we all tipped Glenunga. We were all wrong, so what do we know? But anyway, we're going to talk about it. The other thing, we've got a couple of great segments we had earlier in the year merging into a great segment from last week. It's called Talking Flags, the C-Grade Synopsis edition. So it's a special edition, and of course, the Reserves Report. What else have we got on today's show, please, Matthew?
Yeah, we've also got the Goal in the Mark of the Year. We'll announce our Player of the Year and our Coach of the Year award as well, which will be fantastic.
Well, Between the Posts has been great this year. Again, over 20,000 views of the grand final yesterday, which is wonderful. Thanks to everyone for watching. We'll be back with a huge Between the Posts this week. Welcome to the final Division 1 report for 2024. Tommy Javor here at our sponsor, the Moseley Hotel. First things first, congratulations to the Port District Football Club, your 2024 premiers. Port District 9-10-64, the Glenunga Footy Club 6-8-44. Unfortunately for Glenunga, it's back-to-back grand final losses in both the A grade and the B grade. Let's have a look at some of the goal kickers. Firstly for Glenunga, all individuals. It was Decky Fay, Fletcher Wisman, Abe Davis, the tip rat Bo Schwartz, Macca and Prosser, all with one. Whilst the Port District, it was Mitch Gaffney, Dienhoff, Trent Heffernan, Niskahus and Harrison Hawkins. Better players for Glenunga, Zach Smith was absolutely outstanding, arguably the best defender on the day. His stats probably didn't reflect that, but he had 11 touches, 4 marks, some intercepts, and just held Port District at bay all day. Tully Kennett was the best midfielder for Glenunga. Nick Egar was absolutely brilliant, did a wonderful job on Trent Heffernan. Jack Matchett with his 19 touches. Often during the commentary yesterday, I gave him the boom shakalaka because he just launched the ball beautifully. He was wonderful, and Sam Parsons certainly tried hard. But the story here is Port District. So let's look at some of their better players. Well supported here by the Dartfish Stats and Analytics, but this is how much of a Div 1 nuff I've become. I commentated the game all day. I loved it that much. I went home, I watched the full commentary again, and I statted some of it. So I really wanted to see what happened. The league best on ground medal went to Mitch Gaffney. Congratulations to Mitch. He had 19 touches. He kicked 3 goals, but here's where he had a massive impact. 12 tackles. His tackling was ruthless. It set the scene. The media award for best on ground, which is of course the wonderful Archie Thongs, was Cooper Gaffney. Cooper Gaffney had 28 touches. That's right, 28 touches in a grand final. He took 9 marks and he sent the ball inside forward 50 7 times. Now, when Cooper Gaffney, the architect, sends the ball in 7 times, normally it's with elite precision. He was absolutely brilliant. Joey Haynes was awarded best team man. He had 26 touches. Now, 24 of those were kicks. 24 kicks for Joey Haynes, going at 88%. You can't go at 88% in the grand final. It's just not logical. Now, some of those were kick-outs, yes, but Joey Haynes, for me, was absolutely brilliant. He won our Moseley Team Man Best Voucher Award, which was $100. Other players that were fantastic, Louis Sharrod, he was dangerous all day. His ability to be the exit man coming out and often work all the way back in defence and curtail for Port Glenunga's offence. He would then push all the way forward. You would literally see him appearing in all parts of the ground. The next man, well, he was unbelievable on one leg, Scott Lycett. 22 possessions is a lot, but here's the stat where he hurt Glenunga and hurt them badly. 14 clearances. He destroyed his opposition rucks. They couldn't compete with him. He was just too good. Well done, Scott Lycett. You showed why you played so much AFL, and on the big stage, you played the big game. Sam Gray did Sam Gray things. The grub, they call him, 22 touches. He was superb. The difference between this game and the second semi-final is all of these possessions seem to hit the target and seem to cause so much damage. He hit the 45. He hit the connection pieces all day. And Dinoff, 18 touches and 3 goals. What a cameo by that young man. Watching the footage back, I got a little bit annoyed at how much I used the word connection, but that was the key. It really was. Port couldn't get it in the second semi-final, and then it was Glenunga who couldn't find it themselves. They just simply couldn't get through that web of Port District. Port District's pressure just made it an insurmountable hill to climb. Before the game, literally every single one of us tipped Glenunga. No one went fancy and went Port. This was Glenunga's to lose. They were 18-1 in the season. We even questioned if that one was a little bit of ducks and drakes. But at the end of the day, Glenunga, after being up by 11 points at quarter time, and even at 1 point at half time, they came out in the first 24 seconds, they kicked a goal. And you thought, well, here they go. It's going to happen now. But it didn't. It was that patch from quarter time to the last quarter where they only kicked those 2 goals after second quarter and at the start of the third quarter that really hurt them. Port took full control in that time, kicking 7 goals too, creating shots from good quality scoring areas with really good connection. That's right, there's that word again. And inside 50 usage. Now, I need to look at the Dartfish stats because they do tell a story. The Dartfish stats and analytics have helped me all year just to make sure, 1, I'm talking about the right stuff, and 2, the match patterns reflects what the stats says. Effective clearances, here it is. 35 to Port, 20 to Glenunga. That's effective clearances. 14 of them from Scott Lycett. There's your story. Inside 50s, this will surprise some people. 44 to 43. They both had their chances. And inside 50 efficiency was the lowest it's been all year. 33% for Glenunga, 43% for Port District, because it was very hard to get clean air and clean ball. Contested marks, 15 to 19. That's on par, you'd expect that. But here's where they got them. 13 marks inside 50 for Port District. They took 4 in the second semi-final, and 2 of them were late. Glenunga only managed 6. They double-teamed Davis, they structured up beautifully, and they were just set up all day, making it near on impossible. We talked about the way they parked the bus when they needed to. They rolled everyone across. It was an impressive display. Total marks for the day as well. This one does really defy a story because Port were able to get loose. Port were able to chip at times and get some breathing space. 74 to Port, 34 to Glenunga. Disposal efficiency, Glenunga 61%, Port District 72. They used the ball better. Now there's a couple of other things I've watched in the replay, but I'll come back to them after I speak with the man who was there watching on commentary. I want to bring him in now because I love his opinions. I love the way he looks at the game. Let's bring in Matt Gale. Yeah, so through the magic of television, Matt, I wanted you here. Thanks for joining me firstly. Again, you've obviously in the show today. I wanted you there because obviously in the moment of watching the game as a commentator, you look at it a certain way. Obviously I've reviewed the game again last night, but I so value your opinion. And after your commentary duties, you sat down in the box near me and watched the game. Your thoughts, feelings, emotions on the Division 1 decider?
Well, Glenunga kicked 3 goals in the opening term, and I thought, well, they're probably going to go on with it. They'll get involved with that arm wrestle approach, which they've been the cornerstone of their game, where they'll flex their muscles and put in a clinical 5 to 8 minutes and put on 4 or 5 goals. And I honestly thought it would be over at half time. This certainly wasn't the case. Port District's worked themselves back into the game magnificently in the second term. But once we got to half time and there was a goal given just before on the siren.
A free kick given?
Yeah, yep. There was a free kick given and a goal resulted. And I thought, well, this is the energy that Glenunga needed. Yep. I'd seen District get a free kick in a similar position in the second semi, which we did call down there at the senior high school there for Sacred Heart. But when they come out in the third term, they were on song, they were more desperate, they were hungrier, they were first to the ball, and when they were in control of the ball, Glenunga, they got crunched. There's a couple of times in that third term where I saw Glenunga getting beaten at their own game, where District would do that counter-attack style. They weren't relying on certain forwards. Their Gaffneys were heavily involved. Lycett was tremendously manhandled west in the ruck, but thank God young Smith was in the last line of defence for Glenunga because he was the rock of Gibraltar back there. Yeah. And if he wasn't there, particularly in the first half, we may have got an indication of where that game was going. But they were stunned. Glenunga, you suspect it's going to be hard to bounce back from not only that.
They were devastated too.
They were devastated, but 2 on the trot, that would hurt so much. Yeah, they were odds-on favourites. They were expected to win. And Port Districts beat them at their own game. Yep. They were battle bruised going into this grand final. But they come out on top and deserved winners.
Let me ask you this. So Glenunga knocked them off. They've knocked them off the last 4 times, knocked them off 3 times this year. Coach Ramsey's a star, 2-time premiership coach. He had a chance to analyse, observe, make some changes, and then I think he came out and he out-Glenunga.
Yeah.
Is that a fair comment?
I totally agree with it. They got beaten out their own game, Glenunga, and some of the structure, some of the plays, the imprint did have a bit of a gloss of Glenunga, but had that battle-hardened Port District style to them. And I'll tell you what, another point in the game that was probably changed, and I'm not sure if you saw this, Tommy Javor, but during the half-time break, Port Districts went over to their own members on the far side of the field at centre wing and did all their warm-ups in front of their members. And I tell you what, it paid off in spades, and it might have just inspired them having that 19th player on that far side.
Yeah, and then at 3/4 time, I certainly did see that. At 3/4 time, it was like the Great Wall coming down. That wall of Port District, they own the outer side. I mean, when I say thousands, there was thousands coming, and we got some great footage on the live. If you haven't watched the live, go back and watch it, obviously, through our media channels. But the energy around that group, and they were 16 points up then. I said I didn't think Glenunga could come back. And that's something I've never said about Glenunga, because I looked at it and I went, hang on, Glenunga kicked 3 in the first, which you articulated. Then between then and 3/4 time, they kicked 2 goals. Yeah. 24 seconds apart, because they kicked one after the siren in the second quarter, and they kicked one 24 seconds into the third quarter, watching the replay last night. They didn't score a goal inside that, outside of that little bracket for a half a footy, and you can't do that in the grand final. And Port District's pressure was just too good.
It was to the highest order, and mind you, I think it was 2.5 quarters, but did not look like kicking a goal. And there was some opportunist times where you just needed a bounce to go their way. They weren't getting the bounces going their way. They did have a couple of shots right in front of the Largs legends on the far side, and you could just hear the anticipation. I think the crowd spooked them a couple of times as well, Glenunga, but they just couldn't get the game on their terms. And I'll tell you what, when the Largs legends come across, not only at 3/4 time, but once that final siren went, the swarm of bees, the black swarm of bees coming into the huddle to greet the players was truly inspirational. I got goosebumps.
You do, yeah.
So
it's a big goosebumps, my friend. Yeah, no, yeah. It was outstanding. And it was a momentum you didn't feel could be stopped. Glenunga didn't have any answers, mate. And on the big stage, unfortunately, I think the pressure got to them a little bit. There was a bit of tightening. And then late in the game as well, when they had one final lick of the ice cream, one little crack, they probably missed 3 chances that they kicked 9 times out of 10. I'm not going to name players, but and Port were just relentless.
Yeah, they were. Big congratulations to Port Districts. I thought the Gaffney brothers were outstanding, particularly Cooper Gaffney. I know he didn't get the best on ground honours, but I believe he was the best player.
He got them from me. Yeah. That helps.
But Mitch Gaffney did kicked a couple of real brilliant goals
early
when they needed a settler. They needed to keep themselves in touch with the game, and also won in that premiership quarter going to the left of screen there. But a lot of their players that probably lacked a bit of fire in the games department, just to build up. They come in a little bit underdone. They got those players fit. And if you've tasted premiership glory before, which District did 2 years ago, against a side like Glenunga who are running on pure momentum, I think that probably counted for something on grand final day as well.
Yeah, beautifully. Matt, thank you so much for joining me. Put it there, brother, for this and for everything this year. You've been outstanding.
Thank you very much, great man, and well done to Port Districts, our Division 1 premiers for 2024.
Thank you for that, Matty. You great man. Now, there's a couple of bits, and I mean moments in time where you look back and go, where was it won or lost? If it's into one moment, I've found 2. Zach Smith takes yet another great mark, but coming through the wrong way, Mitch Gaffney just gives him one, belts him in the beak or in the snout, gets a big cut above his eye. Legal enough in a sense that, well, I mean, a free kick was awarded, he already took the mark, could have maybe been 25. That's grand final footy, that is what it is. What that did, that made Zach Smith go off for treatment for quite a while, and probably assessment as well, and it shifted the structures a little bit, and it was allowed Port District just to get a little bit of control of the game, and that maybe just ask a few questions that weren't always being asked. It was a huge, huge moment. 5 minutes later, as the game starts to shift, the game is on the line. A man by the name of Decky Fay had been very good. He kicked an early goal. He was excellent. Then, have a look at this crunch. Briefly. These boys crack in. These boys have a go. They wear their colours proud. Glenunga and Port District, 2 best teams of the year, locking horns. Cooper Stadium,
Division 1 Adelaide Footy. Bang! And there it is, right on cue.
And if you look at that, let me articulate it for you. That's Decky Fay and Cooper Gaffney coming in, wearing their heart on their sleeve and just smashing in. That is grand final Div 1 footy. If you want to say footy stops, you have a look at that. Now, Decky Fay bust his collarbone. I like Decky Fay. I know him personally. He's a ripper. I saw him on the green whistle, and that broke my heart. But at the end of the day, Cooper Gaffney is, I talk about the man crush all the time, hard as a cat's head, and that's football. That's the commitment. That's what this grand final meant to these two teams. It was fair dinkum unbelievable, and that was a thing for me that tipped Cooper Gaffney, along with his 28 touches, 9 marks, 7 inside 50s. That's the reason why I gave him best on ground. People questioned me on that one. I stand by it. He was the best and most important and most consistent four-quarter player. Your brother Mitch, not too bad, 12 tackles, 3 goals, 19 touches, but that was outstanding. One final point in the game, and you won't probably see this, it's the 15-minute mark of the third quarter. And you think, oh yeah, Port had control. Glenunga actually led by a point. By that point, Glenunga have had 5 either out on the fulls or missed shots for last possessions. The pressure had got to them. They didn't take the chances they didn't normally take. And scoreboard pressure in grand final, it's like an angel or a devil on your shoulder, depending on which side you look. And then when Port District moment came, they took their moment. When it's your turn to go, you must go. Port District went, and they were too good. In the last few minutes, again, Harry Prossop kicks only their 3rd goal after quarter time late, the 17-minute mark of the last quarter. Glenunga have 2 or 3 more shots at goal, but they just don't hit and create the scoreboard pressure. And in the end, Port District, too good. I expected, with my tip and being an ex-Glenunga person, I expected a heap of feedback, being on the ground amongst 3,000 supporters, being in their rooms for the song and for Free From Desire, which was amazing scenes. Nothing but humility, nothing but kind words. Port District, you're the best footy club in this state. You're the Division 1 premiers. Sorry I didn't believe you. If you go back to episode 1, I tipped you to win the flag then. I jumped off. I'm an idiot. Uppercut for Javor. You're the best. You proved it. Enjoy your premiership. Nothing more to say, but well done. This has been Tommy Javor for 2024 Division 1 Reports. Thank you to everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure calling the best comp in South Australia.
Get a quick and easy low-rate car loan from Police Credit Union today.
From the Mosey Hotel for Between the Posts and another special edition of Reserves Report. This time, Matty, what's it called?
Talking flags.
They're talking flags. We've had flags for the reserves over the last 3 weeks. Of course, 2 weeks ago at Cooper's Stadium, the Div 7 reserves. Matty, what happened?
It was the Para Hills Footy Club 11-9-75 defeating the Smithies from Smithfield 5-4-34.
Great result for Smithies to get to that reserves flag with the A's finishing down the bottom. But the Red Roos, 2 flags in 1 year. Lockie Sullivan, the star, kicking 5. Just a quick shout out as well on that Smithies list. Mick Aspey's one of the best footballers I ever saw about 15 years ago. Mick Lane, what a star. Boxy and Crispy, know a few of those guys. Commiserations, but well done, Para Hills, too good.
Congratulations, Para Hills, our Div 7 reserves premiers.
Talking flags, Div 6 reserves time. This one was from Convenience Oval.
Salisbury didn't get the chocolates in the Argo, but they did in the Magoos. Salisbury 11-14-80 to Adelaide Rutheran. A paltry 8 points.
That kicking's bad football, but I don't think it would have mattered too much because they were dominant. And it was Matt Fleming kicking 4, but makes me excited to see. And I'll put my goggles on. The boy who used to wear goggles in the Central District Underage program, Jake Simpson, best on ground. He's a tough fullback. I love Jake and his family. Really happy. That would have eased the A-grade pain, as you said, but it wasn't all their own way. It was 4 points to 3 at quarter time. They had to work for it. But when they got on top, they showed that magpie spirit. Only one thing left to say, my friend.
Congratulations to Salisbury, our Div 6 reserves premiers.
Talking flags in Division 5 reserves, Matthew.
It is the Colonel Light Gardens 10-7-67. Convincing winners over Woodville South 5-6-36. And probably eased the pain of their defeat to Mitcham in the A-grade.
Yes, at least they had something to celebrate because that was at PNU. It was Paul McInerney with 4 and Jacob Blake Smith was the star of the show.
Congratulations to Colonel Light Gardens, our Div 5 reserves premiers.
Talking flags in the Division 4 reserves at West Adelaide Football Club.
It was the Plimpton Bulldogs 7-8-50 to Walkerville, 7-44, a 6-point margin, but also 2 flags after their A grade was defeated from the top.
Yeah, they went out in straight sets in the A grade, but they take home 2 flags. It was our closest margin in all games, just at 6 points in any grand final there in the reserves. So, and the interesting thing for the Bulldogs is they were 16 points down at 3/4 time. So, my beloved Cats, they've let one slip, but it is what it is. Jack Donkersley kicked 4, and wow, best on ground. What a superstar, Johnny Pecoraro. I could tell you 1,000 stories about the Pecoraro family, like the day in '97 when his dad broke me nose, old Gino Modra. But they are stars, and I love seeing them have success, and they can celebrate them too. So what do we say, Matty?
Congratulations to Plimpton, our Div 4 Reserves premiers.
It's Division 3 Reserves talking flag time. Of course, this one was at Morn Team Hyundai Oval. When you talk flags in Div 3, you have to talk about Henley.
You certainly do. The Henley Sharks 16-12, 108, defeating Likely's 2 straight goals, 12.
Yeah, Dylan Fry, good man, Dill kicked 3, and it was Jordan Hodges, a best on ground in a dominant Henley team, who were the best team all year. They were simply outstanding. I do want to talk to Lockleys though, just quickly. Shawnee Crow, the captain, and then there's a whole bunch of kids come through the Glenelg system down there. Foster Masiki, Bailey Durant, who certainly tried hard. Hello to Bailey's brother Harvey, who was a big fan of mine, and the coach Sean William, who helped us create the reserves report. We feel for you. They would have seen the Instagram post, the Mad Monday stuff from Henley, and I'm sure they can't wait for next year. But winners are grinners, so...
Congratulations to Henley, our Div 3 Reserves premiers.
Talking flags, Div 2 edition, and it was at Cooper Stadium last week, Matt.
It was the Goodwood Saints making it 2 from 2 with their Bs and Cs, and in the Bs, Goodwood Saints 9-12-66, defeating Flinders Park 8-5-53.
And the better players the best on ground for Goodwood was Hamish the Hammer Burns, goal kickers Burns and Clark both kicking 3, and Skip Barrow also doing very well. 5 goals to 1 at quarter time gave Goodwood the great start. And I'll just speak to this one a little bit, mate, because flags in the Bs and Cs, they did make the finals in the As, but they've got depth. They've been the superpower of Adelaide Footy League. We expect them to bounce back and have a better year next year, wouldn't we?
We certainly do. You expect them to come back bouncing off the back of those premierships and probably a tilt towards premiership glory and eventually, again, back in a Division 1 company.
It's not about the Ace ones, though. It's about the reserves. So what do we need to say to the Saints?
Congratulations, Goodwood Saints, our Div 2 Reserves premiers.
Last but not least, Matty Gale, we were there yesterday, Division 1 Reserves, talking flag times at Cooper Stadium. You commentated the first 3 quarters. I moved in with the stream team in the last quarter. What was the score and the results?
Sacred Heart Old Collegians 8-12-60 to Glenunga 5-11-41.
Of course, our filming footy team did a great job there, and the vision is fantastic. Let's have a look at the Glenunga side. Tommy Michaelani, brother of Max, kicked 1, as did Owen Montgomery, son of the great Brett Montgomery, premiership player at Port. Stirrer, Tommy Boyan and Gabe Lagana kicked 1 late. Better players, Shaq Mooney was their best with Tommy Michaelani, good-looking Jimmy Hanlon, James Strigakis, and captain, the tough Tom Butterworth. But they were no match, mate. It was very close. Glenunga were up. At quarter time, it was even at half-time, 2-7 apiece. They snuck out to a 5-point lead shock when you went off commentary, mate, and then they got the job in the last quarter. Take us through your thoughts of the game.
It was a real arm wrestle. It was a very difficult game to call because it's basically a battle of the 2 defences. They were ranked 1 and 2 in defence with Sacred Heart, obviously with the solidarity being number 1. But yeah, that third quarter, thankfully the game opened up and delivered a few goals because the old Squirtle and Hahn Ultra Zero Carb scoreboard was very light on with only 4 goals in the first half. But thankfully there was 5 goals kicked alone in the third quarter before you took over. And the floodgates opened with 3 goals to 1 in the last quarter. But well done to Sacred Heart. Outstanding season with the 18 wins in the minor round.
Yeah, it's a very good year. Look, it certainly went from chocolate to boiled lollies for Glenunga. I felt like Glenunga were lucky. They probably had enough forward entries, just couldn't capitalise. They certainly probably will feel a little aggrieved with a couple of decisions that didn't go their way. You could be your own judge on that. But in the end, they went down by 19 points. So there's only one thing left to say in our final reserves talking flags, and that is, Matt.
Congratulations, Sacred Heart, our Division 1 Reserves premier.
We hope to be back with more reserves report in 2025. Welcome back to Between the Post. It's a very special, well, it's a Between the Post exclusive, Matty Gale. It's the C-grade edition of Talking Flags, which was so popular last week. Let's start in C7 at Walkerville. Matt, what happened?
It was Tea Tree Gully getting the Chocolates 11-2 to Rocks 6-8. So a very handy win there to Tea Tree Gully in the C7, our C7 premiers.
Yes, let's have a quick look at some of the better ones. It was Stevie Daniels, the former boy from St. Martin's, kicking 5. Best on ground was Luke Finn. A 24-point win to the Gullies, as you said, our premiers. And in C6 at Ex-Convenience Oval, it was a huge day. What happened there, mate?
It was Modbury 5-7-37 defeating Adelaide Lutherans.
It was the man of the moment was Nathan Cox from Modbury, leading them to a 9-point win.
Well done to Modbury, our C6 premiers.
Talking Flags, C5 time at Payneham Nord Union Oval, Matty Gale.
It was Prince Alfred College Old Collegian 7-6-48 defeating Woodville South 5-9-39. A 9-point win there to PAC.
And that was the closest C-grade grand final across the journey, a bit of a thriller. It was Ed Doling and Jesse Fife who kicked 3 goals apiece.
Congratulations PAC on being our C5 premiers.
The Reds always find a way to win a flag. Talking Flags, C4 time. This one was at Hisense Arena, West Adelaide Football Club.
It was the Plimpton Bulldogs easily winning 10-8-68 to Adelaide Uni 5-6-36.
Yeah, the first of 2 premierships had win for the day. Castrappi, Wild and Silvermini all kicked 2. Dan Roach was best on ground.
So well done to Plimpton on being our C4 premiers.
C3 at Woodville Oval. It was the start of a huge day for Henley.
Certainly was. Henley Sharks 10-14-74 defeating a goalless Lockley 0-4. 4 behinds.
Yes, Letts and Nagel kicked 2. Best on ground was Geordie Chandler. Look, Henley too good on the day. They were the best team all year. Just want to give a bit of a shout out on a tough day for Lockley. Speaking with Cameron Baker this week, big shout out to Andrew Warner, Sean Storm and to Mitchell Seacamp. The backbone of that Lockley's C grade. Wasn't their day, but they certainly can be proud of their season.
Congratulations to Henley, our C3 premiers.
Talking Flags, C2 time at beautiful Cooper Stadium, Nord Oval.
It was the Saints marching in. Goodwood Saints 15-13, 103 to Modbury 6-8-44.
Yeah, on a couple of weeks where conditions weren't great, they certainly defied the odds and kicked over 100. We didn't see that from anyone else. It was Van Zaddy and Burgess with 3 apiece. Nick Burgess next on best on ground. Interesting to note, they've defeated the Modbury Super Team. I think they were undefeated for something like 3 years. Big shout out to their best player, Josh Latagorda, you're a star, and to the Modbury team. They still would have partied on. They do that pretty well. But
congratulations to Goodwood, our C2 premiers.
And yesterday, the C1 Grand Final, which started a huge day. Obviously, it was at Nord Oval, Cooper Stadium, and it was Sacred Heart and PAC.
Sacred Heart 7-10-52, defeating PAC 5-6-36. Then standing clash. Very happy to see Sacred Heart. A lot of youthful exuberance taking on the 3-peat contenders of PAC. It wasn't their day. They had 9 players in the pursuit of triple 3-peat premiership glory, but unfortunately they were upstaged by a younger and more hungrier Sacred Heart Old Collegians.
Why does Matty Gale know all this? Because he was the commentator. I'm just going to let go of some stats. 4 goal kickers for Shock. Austin Quinn kicked 2. Bodie Hoskin kicked 2. For PAC, Henry Gould was their multiple goal scorer. The evergreen Will Dowwood was the PAC best player. 4 Shock, it was Hamish Duncan, Nick Jordan, McRae, Goodwood and Elm. A 16-point win. Matt, for me, it was the 4-goal 7 to 1 point in the second quarter that turned the game for the Shockers.
Certainly was, because PAC were up 3-1 at quarter time. They flexed their muscles, and a lot of the scoring was to the left of your screen yesterday, and that's certainly the case, and they made hay while the sun shined. Sacred Heart, and set up a wonderful victory off the back of that second quarter.
Now, I was watching at home with the kids, mate. Loved what you and Jack Banwell were doing, and I couldn't help, as I've just mentioned, the red card. Do you think that changed the momentum of the game?
It certainly did. I think it was during the phase where they did kick those 4 goals and maybe off the back of it, but it certainly did change the flow of the game. Blanche was a big man mountain, and to see him taken out of the game put a lot of pressure on Dowwood to play a lot more ruck time, didn't allow him to go forward, and they lacked a little bit of flexibility going inside their forward 50 as a result of it.
Yeah, the other thing that really stood out to me is Tried to play a bit of C1 in my 40s. Bad idea, because it's not the old guys with ink on their arms anymore. It's the young, fast kids out of first 18 footy. It's actually a really good game of footy, wasn't it?
Certainly was. Duncan was superb. Jordan got touched up early in the first quarter. He was magnificent down back. And I love the brother of the bone crusher, Cooper McRae. He was outstanding. Probably had about 18 tackles throughout the clash. So he's exactly what you want on your grand final team. Someone who's hustling, bustling in the middle, and did a lot of heavy lifting.
Yes, congratulations to Sacred Heart. They were our C1 premiers. This has been Talking Flags C-Grade edition. Congratulations to all you C-graders. Of course, it's the Sunday after the Div 1 Grand Final. No doubt you're still partying, even if you won it 2 weeks ago. Thanks for watching Between the Posts this year, C-Graders, and we hope to be back next year with more C-Grade Synopsis. And welcome to Between the Posts. It's time for the final time, one of our most popular segments. It is the goal of the year. Thank you to all the wonderful contributions we've had. It was a very tough choice fighting through the 15, but I'm pleased to say the winner of the goal of the year from the Walkerville Football Club is Thomas Riggle. Congratulations, Thomas, and well done on a brilliant goal. Between the Posts, it's time for the ever popular Mark of the Year winner. We've had high flyers, we've had courage, we've had it all. 15 incredible candidates, and it is time, without further ado, to announce from the O'Sullivan's Beach Football Club, your winner is the high-flying Trevor Rigney for this absolute cracker.
You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Tommy Javoy here at lovely Moseley Bar and Kitchen, and this is one of those things you look forward to all year. It's the Player of the Year announcement, and there's no surprise. It's the great man, back-to-back Media Award winners. Congratulations, Abe Davis.
Thank you very much, mate.
No worries. Now, you're a clear winner. I don't need to tell your story too much. You're the best player in the league. 2-time Keith Sims medal winner. You won that one by 5 votes. You won ours by even more. You had an outstanding season. Take us through the season itself. Why were you so good? I know why you were good. Tell the viewers why you're so good.
Yeah, look, I think I'm really lucky within Glenunga. I'm really lucky that I've got so many guys around me that I have guys that cover for me defensively, and I've got Westy, which for me best ruckman in the comp, putting the ball down the throats. I've got a lot of guys allowing me to play my natural game, and there's guys like Tully Kennett, Decky Fay, Charlie Pridham that could go out and have 30 every week, but they sacrifice their game to allow me to do my thing. So I think, look, it's great to win the individual accolade, but I'm certainly not here without my teammates doing their thing for me.
Fantastic, mate. And you've been so giving to us in the media all year, with interviews, even with Lockie and so forth. The elephant in the room isn't me. It is yesterday's grand final where, for the third time in 4 years, unfortunately, I still wouldn't talk about it too much, mate, but didn't quite get the chocolates. Port District just too good.
Yeah, they were. We got beaten by a better team. It was pretty simple as that. We knew with the list they had, they were capable of doing it, and it just so happened that for me personally, they saved their best game for the end of the year. Big game. Their better players stood up. All their players stood up, really. I couldn't have faulted any of them. I didn't personally at any point feel like, even though we were in front at certain points, I didn't feel like we were ever in control. And got beaten by a better team on the day.
Yep. How are the boys? Obviously, you spent the night with them in the wee hours of the morning. How is everyone doing?
Yeah, look, we had a couple of beverages and went home pretty early, so didn't get too carried away. But it was probably a little bit different to last year because we had Port District side. We knew going in that they had a really, really good side. I think for anybody, whether you're watching or playing, the way they played was just it was really impressive the way they went about it and the way they executed their game plan. Certainly, from all perspectives on our behalf, we didn't really have an answer for them. So a little bit different to last year, but yeah, we had a couple of beverages and enjoyed each other's company, and we'll certainly make some really poor decisions today.
That's all you can do. You're going to have some fun. But, mate, let's just quickly look at your season. You played, obviously, on ball. I talked about it last week. You looked incredibly fit this year. You moved up forward. You actually kicked 43 goals as that dynamic sort of midfield forward. Probably just about led the possessions in the league. I think Lewis Johnson had a few more, but you're able to put together an incredible body of 18 games. You must be very proud of it.
Yeah, I was... I knew coming in last year that I was, sort of pigeonholed as a full forward, so I was never going to get those midfield minutes and the fitness and stuff. And then it came through this year. I got the midfield minutes last year. I knew coming in this year I'd be even fitter. And especially with someone like Nath, who gives me the freedom to do what I need to do to play at my best. I knew I was going to be fitter, and it just makes it a lot easier to get those Ks in during the pre-season and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I knew I thought I'd probably have a better year this year than I did last year, but it was there's probably more to do with Nathan than is to do with me, to be honest.
Nathan has called stumps after an incredible 4 years. I'll talk about a lot about him and his value and contribution to Glenunga in the Div 1 report, but I guess what's next for Abe Davis and what's next for Glenunga is a question.
Yeah, I think we've been there twice now and had a crack at it, so I haven't put too much thought into what I'll do post this year. I put everything into yesterday, which
quite come to fruition. Yep.
Look, to be honest, I'll probably have a chat with Nate and figure out what he thinks and stuff. But I think as a club at Glenunga, we're heading in the right direction. We look at teams like at PAC last year. We got Port Districts this year, and they're a mature team. They've got senior guys around them that have been there before. They know what to expect. We've probably got a bit of a younger list.
Yep.
We've been there now. We've experienced it now. For me personally, I don't see us going anywhere but going forward. So.
Yep. And it can get lost in a grand final loss, but 18-2 is still one of the most successful Division 1 seasons I've ever seen. You did fall at the final hurdle, but I stand by my comments. In season, you're the best team I'd ever seen. Just structurally together as a unit, you should be incredibly proud. Let's finish on some high notes, though. The sacrifice you've made even to come today to be announced as Player of the Year to the good fans. We had over 20,000 views yesterday watching that grand final, which is great. It's not about the views, but just that we're connecting with the community. Silly Sunday, you're off. Clearly, I played in the right era because you're telling me you're going to have to go and have responsibly. After you've had a Hahn no carb, you have to have a Guinness with an egg in it. What's up with that?
Look, I'm not going to lie to you. This generation does tend to escape me, and I'm part of it. Guinness with an egg, I'm not sure what to go with that is. I'm going to have to scull a Guinness's egg when I get there, and I'm still going to have 3 times as many beers as anyone else there.
I remember when I did an interview recently, you had to put your 2 Hahn no carbs down to do the interview after the game, and I love that.
That doesn't sound like me.
No. Mate, Div 1, Player of the Year, back to back. Anyone to thank, mate, I'll give you you're mic'd up, I'll give you the mic.
Yeah, look,
Don't forget your mum.
Yeah. Well, Nate's probably the first one. I get to win this award, but without Nate and the coaching staff allowing me to have the freedom to do what I do, I certainly don't get this done. And without my teammates, again, sacrificing their own game to allow me to do it, doesn't work. My mum certainly is a big Tommy Javor fan. Get a lot of feedback from her, but she's certainly someone that understands my game and gives me a lot of feedback and critique and what I need to fix and change, and that works really well for me. My brother as well, who's really good for it. He doesn't read the game very well, but it's good that he watches. Good stuff, Ben. And all the sponsors at Glenunga Sports Power, thank you very much. Yeah.
Look, again, it's about your Player of the Year award, but with the Bs and the As in the grand final 2 years in a row, the club's an incredible space. But this is about you, mate. I just want to say, watching you, commentating you, calling your games and doing Div 1 report about you, you've been so supportive of me and Between the Posts and the Adelaide Footy League, all our media stuff, and to have the best player in the league buy into what we're doing, we probably wouldn't be as good without you, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's good to be part of it.
Abe Davis, back-to-back media award winner, back-to-back Keith Sims medalist, hopefully next year, Premiership captain. And it's a Between the Post exclusive. I love it when I get the chance to do this. It's time for the Farmers Elite Coach of the Year. Congratulations from the Eastern Park Football Club, Anton Rayleigh. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
Got some goodies for you. A cellar door voucher for you.
Awesome.
And this stuff, I'd bathe in if I could. The Farmers Elite Cab Sav. You might have to chuck that down so I can have an interview with you, mate. That is
Thank you very much,
absolutely outstanding, mate. Now, the big thing about this is last year was a Div 1 coach. You're a Division 6 coach. Now going to be a Division 5 coach, don't mind me. And you've won the Coach of the Year. That's how impressed we are. Congratulations. Take us a little bit, well, firstly through your season and then that upset grand final win.
The season obviously panned out pretty well. We only lost the 2 games to Salisbury. Obviously, the 3rd game we lost them in the finals as well, and then beat them in the end in the grand final on the day that it counted. So, season went very handy, so more ups and downs.
Yep.
So yeah.
So, look, it's funny how much it's a mirror image of Division 1. I mean, you look at Glenunga nearly undefeated. Salisbury, we're 19-0. They're taking care of you 3 times in the year. But then you made a big move, I think, in the grand final. I think you might have put Nappy in ruck. Oh, Nappy. Best on ground, Nappy. Oh, Nappy. Oh, Prezzo night last night, won the best of us. We'll get to Nappy, but you made some moves, and I think you might have even out-coached Brett Joseph on that day. Full credit to you, mate.
We obviously had a lot of things up our sleeves that we were going to use grand final day. We had Bruno O'Loughlin, who usually plays back pocket. We threw him in the ruck. We always knew he could ruck. Nappy obviously went into ruck and helped out as well, and then we threw Big Rob down centre half back.
Is it Kovacic or Kovacic?
Kovacic, yeah. So played him loose in centre half back in the second half, and I think he took about 10 instant marks and pretty much won us the game, I reckon, I'd say. So they just couldn't, our back line held up that whole day, so
yep.
No, it was awesome.
How was the crowd and the atmosphere like at Ex-Convenient Oval playing it at a league ground? Was it all right? Look at the smile on your face, bros.
Brings back good memories, obviously, last week and emotions and that, but the day couldn't have panned out any more perfect than what I expected, from the boys getting there. I sort of had things in place. I had balloons or helium balloons all set up in the change rooms.
Helium balloons? You might have to take me through that, mate.
So every week I'd have a game day quote. So before the boys run out, I'd have a quote, something different every week, a bit more meaningful, more weeks than others. So I had 18 rounds, I had 18 balloons with the quote from round 1, obviously up to round 18. And then on the other 22 balloons, I had just a personal message that I'd wrote for the boys personally, and they all opened them up together and sort of gave them a little bit of inspiration. So just from the boys getting there, seeing that straight away, we were sort of switched on, and we were up for the moment, you know. So
brilliant. We first met on Anzac Day, mate, and I put it on between the posts. I was super impressed at the Elizabeth RSL to see you and the boys galvanised, creating a cultural piece, a connection. There's that word again, because it is just so important in footy. And I turned to my mates at the time and said, they're gonna win this year. Have a look at that. They're together. I mean, you're on the Terps at 8. That's all right though. But you paid your respects. Then you drank and you saluted the diggers. And was that your idea?
That was my idea, and that was always the thing that I've liked doing. You know, we've got players that actually like in the army and stuff, so sort of pay our respects, and it's just a good thing to get the boys together and just something different.
Yep.
You know, we obviously never get to play on Anzac Day, which I would probably hope that next year we could do that, but showing our respects to the diggers as well, you know. So obviously my New Zealand heritage background as well. So yeah,
Anzac, Australia, New Zealand, exactly right, and beautifully said. And you've opened the door there nicely for me, mate. You're a proud Maori man from New Zealand. On grand final, and we showed it last week, the haka. Now, we mentioned off air, I coached a lot of state and Australasian Gaelic football and was against the New Zealanders and faced the haka and crapped me dacks over and over again. If you're not ready for it, it can throw you right off. But what you did was brilliant. Take us through the thought process, the execution, and the whole thinking around that.
So the actual, a lot of people think the haka is to intimidate the opposition, and it's not. It's also a calling of the gods to help in any way that they can. Obviously, the Maori culture very spiritual and stuff. So so it's not just to intimidate your opponents. It's also a calling for help when needed and stuff. So I always knew I was going to do the haka for the boys. A lot of my mates are mates with all the boys from the footy club as well. So it wasn't as though it was only me and they knew nobody else. So
yeah.
We're all one.
The community.
One culture there, yeah, exactly, the community, So I always knew that I was going to do that for the boys, my job's to lead and try and do everything I can to help them get over the line, and that's just something small I thought that would help the boys, and just get them pumped up for a grand final, besides just running through the old banner. So
yeah, it got me pumped up, and again, the difference was when I coached, played, normally they did it towards us, you did it to your own team, and I think that, again, just encapsulated everything about Eastern Park community, and I'll talk about that community now. I worked with the Eastern Park community for 6 years as Essentials Development Officer, as Zone Development Leader, and there's some amazing people who've done a lot of work behind the scenes. And I'll rattle off names like Ali Downey, Benny Packer, the Paul family, Alexandra and Maddie, and that. There must be so many that this meant so much to.
Yeah, for sure, and it's just to see the look on everyone's faces after winning the grand final. It's just the pride and joy that they had was like good enough for me. That was my job done, was to make everyone else happy, which is what I'm always about. I'm not about I'm not about me. I've always been about other people and the boys and the football club. So that was pretty much my job done once I seen everyone's happy faces. So
the Farmers Leap, what a wine. Coach of the Year was selected by myself and Adam Jeffries. It was a pretty easy choice for us in the end. A lot of people go, oh, it's got to be the Div 1 coach. I don't agree with that. Although Josh Ramsey, big shout out to you, you're amazing. But we loved your values. Can you just articulate what are your coaching values to the viewers?
My coaching values would be honesty. Honesty is a big thing for me. And when you get players that they give you like I can't make training for this reason, and so I'd rather than just tell me straight up like, hey man, I'm not going to make training, I can't be bothered, or so honesty is a big thing for me, and respect. A lot of the boys respect me. It's my first year coaching. I don't have like a lot of experience in coaching, but the respect that I have for the boys and the respect that they show to me plays a big part in probably why we won the grand final this year. So they were just ready to play for me this year.
Sure were, mate. They ran through walls and they beat a team that was 19-0. Now, last night you have come for a presentation night, very well rested, I might add. Nappy BNF, but there's one award I wanted to add, the Barry Warren Memorial Trophy. Of course, that's Nathan Warren's papa, who was one of the founders of the club. I love NATO and I love that family. That was won by Alexandra Paul. She's been a huge part. Her socials are the best in footy, just about. They're up there with the G2S ones. She's an absolute star, and I think winning the Barry Warren, we need to mention her.
Yeah, no, she's been outstanding, and just everything that she does, and I message her weekly and say I'm doing this at the football club, like big for you to come down and maybe take a few shots or take a video, and just for her to recap the grand final last week, and for us to just watch that video, we can just relive that every day now. You know, I found myself watching it twice a day. You know, just reliving the moment.
Oh, yeah, Russ.
With the Hucker as well. You know, I think it's had like 500,000 views, which is you know,
a couple more than this show.
You know, without her, our club wouldn't be getting out there. So that's huge. I'm like, very proud of her. So.
Speaking of 500,000 views, I'll give him just a bit of airtime. The Junior Club Person of the Year, Jax Cotton. 1 or 2 words. Describe Jaxie for me. Obviously, I've interviewed him. I love him.
He's a character.
He's a character. He's a star.
He's a really good kid too, man.
Good footballer.
You know, he's just a really like down to earth, and he's a good kid. He's got a good head on him. So
he could be a comedian. He could be a footballer. Who knows, mate? So what's next for the Demons? And for you?
Obviously, coaching 2025.
Year 5. Yep. You signed.
Yep. Took the
Probably a good call, Eastern Park.
Took the role on again. So I feel like I'll just keep going until we don't make the grand final, and if we can't move up a division, then I'm not the right man for the job. So I'll just keep going until, you know.
It's a very high KPI, mate. They're hard to make, but
try and get the club in a good position, and then hopefully hand it over to someone else. So
the other thing, once you've won one, people learn how to win grand finals. It can become contagious.
Good way to end your career, end your coaching career on a high.
Yeah.
Looking forward to going again. So if anyone out there wants to play for Eastern Park, give me a shout out.
There you go.
Back to you, boys.
It's not like for us to do personal advertising on here, HR. Mate, last one. Obviously, you've come down from the city. Anyone you'd like to thank, don't forget the missus.
The beautiful wife, Simone, she's over here somewhere. I think she's trying to hide, so she also hasn't had much sleep. So, without her, there is no me. You know, so she puts up with a lot of obviously behind the scenes sort of stuff that I deal with coaching and stuff. But I'd like to thank my wife more than anyone really. So thank you.
Adelaide Footy League fans, your Coach of the Year in all divisions from the Eastern Park Football Club is Anton Rayleigh. Thanks to Farmers Leap, and thank you for coming down, mate.
Thank you very much, Roman.
Well done. We're back with another Coach of the Year in 2025.
Goes to Shepherd, gets a slicer down the line, direction of Pasco and Cavallaro. Smart kick, good work off the ground by Cavallaro. Could this be the Snag of the Year? Is this the Snag of the Year? Umpire says, clear Cavallaro!
And between the posts, the final word brought to you by SAPOL. But you have been outstanding this year in your Division 2 report, your commentary and everything you do for Between the Posts, filming footy and dartfish. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you very much. It's been an honour and a privilege to be amongst the filming footy crew for 2024 and looking forward to an even bigger and better 2025.
The games, the Division 1 games you called this year, they were outstanding, weren't they? It's a really good comp.
It's an outstanding comp. You just really don't know what to expect. Week in, week out, there's results of it plenty that probably not what we predict. That's what keeps us going. And the promotion relegation, what an outstanding system. Big thanks to the Adelaide Footy League, John Douglas, our national manager, and Tony Neal. It's been a magnificent season, a privilege to be involved. And Tommy Javor, as professional as we get, but also big thanks to all of our filming footy commentators. The clubs that we've worked with have been brilliant throughout the season. Thank you for the exposure we've been able to provide for your club and your online platforms. We're really thankful and bringing that to the cusp of our mantra. So thank you very much to everyone involved.
Yeah, we do get great support from the clubs, or this wouldn't work. Obviously, all our wonderful sponsors, it's always great to see them, and we are here at the Moseley today. You might even hear that. I reckon that might be your espresso martini getting mixed in the background. Looking forward to having lunch here. I want to give a shout out to the Division 2 specialists, because between the posts, and I mean, probably people that might be sick of hearing this, but they might not have heard it. I go home on a Saturday night, I research. I get up on Sunday, I research. But there's a whole team around me that makes this work. And to you in Division 2, Tim Pillion in Div 3, Callum Knox in Div 4, Vince Cosme in Div 5, Jad Gostin in Div 6, Tony Neal in Div 7. But then the production crew, Hugo, I mean, he puts in 12-hour Sundays a lot of the time. You got Jimmy, Jimmy the cameraman, Jimmy the editor, of course, James the big boss, the Dartfish boss, Rowett. I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of Elias.
Don't forget Beck Northcott.
Beck Northcott, Boom Boom Becker, she's a star. Everyone that brings it together. But again, to you who watched, 20,000 people watched the stream yesterday, that can't be lost on me. That's amazing. We're looking to get bigger and better, but to the clubs, if the clubs don't buy in and support us and connect with us, then this doesn't work. So from all of us here at Between the Posts, thank you for everything in 2024. We hope to be back bigger, better in 2025.